Yeah.
Deidre.
Okay, come on.
No, that's right.
Ooh, Deidre.
We on the bullshit.
We on that bull. She ain't bull. Send me that video, because, yeah.
The search continues for the man accused of shooting and killing his ex-girlfriend at their kid's birthday party. Right now, investigators say Jalen Foreman has been charged with murder, but he's still not in custody.
September 12, 2024, East Houston. A little girl is 6 years old today. There's cake on the table, balloons tied to the chairs. Her mother, Jalen Whitlock, is standing in the doorway, watching her daughters laugh. In 4 minutes, she'll be dead, shot in the face at her daughter's birthday party. But here's the part that doesn't make sense. The man who got arrested, he might not be the one who killed her. Let me back up. Jalen had been running from her ex for 3 years. His name was Jalen Foreman, father of her 2 kids, and the kind of guy who doesn't let go. She left him, changed her number, filed report after report with the police. He didn't care. He'd show up at her house, bang on the door. One time, he fired shots at her windows. And on this night, he showed up again, with gifts for his daughter and a gun in his car. Jalen's new boyfriend, Devin Weber, answered the door. They argued. It got heated. Foreman walked back to his car, grabbed his weapon, and started shooting at the house. Weber fired back. And Jalen, she was trying to get her kids upstairs, trying to shield them. One bullet hit her, right in the face. She went down. The police launched a manhunt. They put Foreman's face on the news, called him a murderer. 3 days later, he turned himself in.
Arrest of a man charged with killing his ex in front of their 2 small children. Jalen Foreman is charged with murder, and according to court documents, he went to his ex-girlfriend's home last week to drop off presents because one of their children was having a birthday party. But witnesses say Foreman got into an argument with his ex's new boyfriend, opened fire, hitting his ex, Jalen Whitlock. Foreman took off but was taken into custody yesterday.
Everyone thought the case was over. But 8 months later, the charges against him were dropped because forensics came back with something no one expected. The bullet that killed Jalen Whitlock didn't come from Jalen Foreman's gun. It came from Devin Weber's, the boyfriend, the man she trusted, the one who thought he was protecting her. Now he's in jail, no bond, charged with killing the woman he loved.
Only on Fox here tonight, a major development in a case of a young mother shot and killed during her child's birthday party.
Murder charges against the man first accused in Jalen Whitlock's death are expected to be dropped. Fox 26's Sherman DeSalle is live at the Harris County Courthouse with what's next in this case. Sherman.
Yeah, good evening, Anthony Rashid. The DA's office says that there are going to be some big changes coming in this case involving 25-year-old Jalen Whitlock, who was shot and killed back in September. Let's give a quick timeline to catch everyone up on this. So September 12th of last year, the 25-year-old was shot and killed at her child's birthday party on Loxley Road after the child's father, Jalen Foreman, got into an argument with the mother while dropping off gifts at the home. This all happened in front of the children, and Jalen Whitlock was pregnant at the time of the shooting. September 17th, Foreman turns himself in to Harris County authorities. He's charged with Whitlock's murder, and he gets a $1 million bond. But this week, Fox 26 confirmed that the murder charges against Foreman are expected to be dismissed, and the victim's boyfriend, who was also at the party at the time, Devin Weber, is expected to be in court soon, set to face charges related to this case. The grandmother says she was told by prosecutors that the shot that killed Jalen Whitlock came from Weber's weapon, not Foreman's, but she believes Foreman is still the reason why her granddaughter's gone.
Had he followed the request and the directive of taking the birthday gifts to his mother's house and not coming to my granddaughter's house, I believe that my granddaughter would still be alive. Devin shot back. We guess, or clearly he shot, right? It doesn't change the fact that my granddaughter is dead.
So how do you deal with it?
We do a lot of praying. We do a lot of crying, and it's been that way since September. But with this new thing, we are all in a, it is difficult.
So here's the question that's going to haunt you. Who really killed Jalen Whitlock? The abusive ex who started the fight, or the boyfriend who fired back? Before we go any further, I need you to stay till the end, because I'm going to give you 2 tips that could literally save your life. 2 strategies for recognizing when domestic violence is about to turn deadly, and what to do before it's too late. Jalen didn't get that chance, but you do. Now, if you believe no woman should die trying to protect her children from a man who won't let her go, hit that subscribe button right now. Because stories like this happen every single day. And the only way we stop men like Foreman from getting away with this kind of terror is by refusing to stay silent. One more thing. If Jalen had opened the door that night and told Foreman to leave, do you think he would have? Or was this always going to end in blood? Think about it, because the answer might tell you everything you need to know about the people in your own life. Would you have seen the warning signs? Or would you have opened that door too? Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. Jalen Whitlock was 25 years old when she died. Not a headline, not a case number, a person. She had 2 daughters, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. She worked hard to keep them fed, dressed, and safe. And 3 years before that birthday party turned into a crime scene, she made one of the hardest decisions a woman can make. She left Jalen Foreman. Most people don't understand how dangerous that moment is. Leaving an abuser doesn't end the abuse. It just changes the rules. And Foreman, he didn't accept the breakup. He couldn't. He started showing up uninvited, calling at all hours, following her, making sure she knew he was still watching. Jalen's cousin Ashlyn said it best. She hadn't been with him for 3 years, but he never stopped. She filed so many reports. We all knew he was dangerous, and she wasn't exaggerating. Foreman had already fired shots at Jalen's house before. Not once, multiple times. The kind of thing that should have put him in jail for years. But somehow he kept walking free. So she did what a lot of women in her situation do. She tried to move on. She started dating someone new. Devin Weber, a 31-year-old guy who seemed stable, kind, someone who didn't make her feel like she was constantly looking over her shoulder. But here's the thing about abusive exes. They don't care if you've moved on. In fact, that's when they're the most dangerous. Because in their mind, you still belong to them. And if they can't have you, no one can. Foreman knew where Jalen lived. He knew when the kids' birthdays were. He knew she wouldn't turn him away if he showed up with gifts. Because what kind of mother keeps a father from celebrating his daughter's birthday? He weaponized that love. Used it like a key to get through the door she tried so hard to lock. Think about that for a second. You leave someone who's terrorized you for years. You rebuild your life. You start to feel safe again. And then they show up on the one day you can't say no. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. If this story is hitting close to home, if you know someone who's been in a situation like Jalen's, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this video, because the more people who understand how this works, the harder it is for guys like Foreman to operate in the shadows. And if you're thinking, this could never happen to me, I hope you're right. But you need to understand something. Jalen thought the same thing. She left. She reported. She did everything the system told her to do, and it still wasn't enough. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. If someone you loved had filed report after report and nothing changed, if they told you their ex had already shot at their house, if they were scared every single day but the police couldn't do anything until something worse happened, what would you tell them to do? Because that's the reality a lot of women are living in right now, waiting for the system to protect them, hoping their ex gets tired of the chase. But what happens when he doesn't? What happens when he shows up with gifts in one hand and a gun in the other? It's 8:30 p.m. on September 12th. The living room smells like frosting. There's wrapping paper on the floor. Jalen's daughters are running around in party dresses, hyped up on sugar and excitement. A few friends are there. Devin Weber is helping clean up. Everything feels normal. And then there's a knock at the door. Devin answers it. Standing on the porch is Jalen Foreman. He's holding a bag of birthday gifts. He's calm, too calm, the kind of calm that comes right before a storm. Devin doesn't invite him in. He steps outside. They start talking, then arguing, voices getting louder. Foreman isn't leaving. He's saying things, taunting Devin. Something about shooting him. Something about showing him who Jalen really belongs to. Devin's heart is pounding now. He knows this guy's history. He knows what he's capable of. So he does what a lot of people would do in that moment. He goes to the kitchen, grabs Jalen's gun, comes back to the door. Foreman sees the gun. He backs off, walks to his white Tahoe parked in front of the house. For a second, it looks like he's leaving, like maybe this is over. But he doesn't drive away. He opens the car door, reaches inside, and pulls out his own weapon. What happens next takes less than 60 seconds. Foreman starts firing at the house. 5 rounds, maybe more. Bullets tearing through the front door, through the walls. One of them shatters a window. Inside, Jalen is screaming, grabbing her daughters, trying to get them upstairs, away from the gunfire, away from the chaos. Devin fires back, from the doorway, from the same spot where Jalen is standing, trying to shield her kids. And then, in the middle of all that noise and smoke and terror, one bullet finds her. It hits Jalen in the face. She drops. The kids are screaming. The party guests are on the floor. Foreman speeds off in his Tahoe, tires screeching. Devin's on the phone with 911, his voice shaking, saying the same thing over and over. She's been shot. She's not breathing. Please, you have to hurry. But by the time the paramedics arrive, it's too late. Jalen Whitlock is gone. Houston police immediately put out a manhunt. Foreman's face is on every news channel. The headline writes itself, "Ex-boyfriend murders mother of his children at daughter's birthday party." 3 days later, he turns himself in. He's booked, charged with murder, case closed, or so everyone thought. Here's the thing, though. When you fire a gun in a crossfire, when there are bullets coming from 2 directions, forensics has to figure out which one did the damage. And that takes time. Months, actually. So while Foreman sat in jail, investigators were running ballistics, measuring trajectories, analyzing the angle of entry, trying to reconstruct exactly what happened in those few seconds of chaos. And what they found changed everything. If you think abusers like Foreman should be held accountable for the violence they create, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because this case is far from over. And if you're not following along, you're going to miss the moment when the entire story flips. Still not subscribing? Fine. Drop a comment and tell me why. Tell me you think the system works. Tell me you think guys like Foreman get what they deserve. I want to hear it. Because from where I'm standing, the system failed Jalen Whitlock long before that bullet hit her. So let me ask you this. If you were Devin Weber standing in that doorway, watching a man fire at the house where your girlfriend and her kids are standing, would you have fired back? Or would you have let him keep shooting? Think about your answer. Because it matters. For 8 months, everyone believed the same story. Jalen Foreman killed Jalen Whitlock. He showed up with a gun, started a fight, fired at the house, and murdered the mother of his children, open and shut. In April 2025, forensic investigators finished their ballistics analysis. They studied the trajectory of the bullet that killed Jalen. They measured the angle of entry. They compared it to the position of both shooters. And they found something that flipped the entire case upside down. The bullet that killed Jalen Whitlock didn't come from Jalen Foreman's gun. It came from Devin Weber's. Let that sink in for a second. The man who thought he was defending his girlfriend. The man who watched her ex show up with a gun and start shooting. The man who fired back because he believed he had no other choice. He's the one who killed her. Now, the murder charge against Foreman dropped. He's still facing other charges for showing up with a weapon and firing at the house. But murder? That's off the table. And Devin Weber? He's sitting in Harris County Jail right now, held without bond, charged with aggravated assault of a family member causing serious bodily injury with a deadly weapon. The system has decided that he's the one responsible for Jalen's death. So here's where it gets complicated, because legally this isn't as simple as he shot her, so he's guilty. Texas law allows you to use deadly force if you reasonably believe it's necessary to protect yourself or someone else from imminent danger. That's self-defense. And by every account, Foreman was the aggressor. He showed up. He threatened. He fired first. But here's the catch. When you fire a gun in a confined space, when there are children and innocent people in the line of fire, the law also asks, were you reckless? Did you endanger the people you were trying to protect? And if the answer is yes, self-defense doesn't cover it. Here's what makes this case so brutal. Both things can be true at the same time. Foreman created the situation. He brought the gun. He fired the first shots. Without him, Jalen would still be alive. But Weber pulled the trigger on the bullet that ended her life. And in the eyes of the law, that matters. Now, I promised you 2 life-saving tips at the beginning of this video, and this is where they come in, because what happened to Jalen didn't have to happen. And if you or someone you know is in a similar situation, these could make the difference between life and death. Tip number 1, recognize the escalation pattern. If your ex keeps showing up uninvited, if they've threatened you, if they've used weapons before, you are not in a normal breakup. You're in a high lethality situation. Don't wait for them to calm down. Don't hope they'll get over it. File for a restraining order. Tell your family. Tell your friends. Make a safety plan. And if you can, leave the area entirely. Change cities. Change states if you have to, because the most dangerous time in an abusive relationship is right after you leave. That's when they realize they've lost control, and that's when they're most likely to escalate to violence. Jalen filed reports. She changed her locks, but she stayed in the same city. She stayed accessible, and Foreman used that. Tip number 2, never be the one in the doorway. If a confrontation is happening outside your home, if they're shouting, if someone has a weapon, do not position yourself between the aggressor and anyone else. Do not try to mediate. Do not try to be the peacemaker. Get the kids to the safest room in the house, one with a lock, one with no windows facing the street. Call 911. Let law enforcement handle it. Your body's not a shield. And in a gunfight, there are no safe spots in the doorway. Jalen was trying to protect her daughters. That's what mothers do. But she put herself in the most dangerous position possible. And it cost her everything. If these tips could help someone you know, share this video. Send it to them. Don't wait until it's too late. And if you want more content that actually matters, content that could save lives, hit that subscribe button. Because I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to give you information that could make a difference when it counts. So here's the question I want you to sit with. If you were on that jury, if you had to decide whether Devin Weber is guilty of killing Jalen, what would your verdict be? Did he murder the woman he loved? Or is he just another victim of a situation that never should have happened? Think about it. Because in a few months, 12 people are going to have to answer that question. And whatever they decide, it won't bring Jalen back. There are 2 little girls growing up in Houston right now. One is 8 years old. The other is 6. They don't have their mother anymore. They watched her die, watched her fall in the doorway while she was trying to save them. They saw their father yelling. They saw their mom's boyfriend holding a gun. And now both of those men are tangled up in the system. One as a defendant, one as a suspect who walked free. And the girls? They're being raised by their grandmother, Tamara Whitlock, because there's no one else left. This is what domestic violence does. It doesn't just take the person who dies. It takes the entire family. It shatters childhoods. It leaves scars that don't heal. Jalen Whitlock did everything right. She left her abuser. She filed reports. She tried to build a new life. She followed every piece of advice the system gives to women in her situation. And she still died. Because the restraining orders didn't stop Foreman. The police reports didn't keep him away. And when the violence finally came, it came fast and it came fatal. So who's really responsible for Jalen's death? The ex who started the gunfight? The boyfriend who fired back? Or the system that let a known abuser walk free for 3 years despite countless reports and multiple shootings at her house? The law is going to decide what happens to Devin Weber. But the bigger question, the one that no courtroom can answer, is this. How many more women have to die before we start taking these threats seriously? So here's what I need from you. Drop a comment and tell me, what's your take on this case? Should Devin Weber be charged, or is he a victim too? Do you think the system failed Jalen? I'm reading every single comment. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you think Jalen's story matters, if you think more people need to hear it, hit that like button and share this video. Send it to someone who needs to see it. Because the only way we change the conversation around domestic violence is by refusing to stay quiet. Subscribe if you want more true crime stories that don't just shock you but make you think. Stories that matter. Stories that could save lives. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And if you're in a situation like Jalen's, please get help. Talk to someone. Make a plan. Don't wait until it's too late. One last question before you go. If your life was on the line, if you had to choose between trusting the system to protect you or taking matters into your own hands, what would you do? Because that's the choice Jalen faced, and that's the choice Devin made. And now one of them is dead, and the other is in jail. So what would you do? Our hearts ache for Jalen's family. Words feel inadequate, but please know you are held in deepest sympathy and prayers. May you find strength and comfort in the memories of Jalen. To everyone who made it to the end, thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.